Hey, welcome to the Relentless Positivity Podcast from your host, Joe Martin. My guest today is Katharine Giovanni, and she's a three-time award-winning best-selling author. She's a speaker. She's one of the original founders of the independent concierge industry, and she's authored 12 books, including her latest release, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. Katharine, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, this is an exciting topic, and you guys, you want to tune in for this one because you've probably heard about forgiveness. You might be familiar with it, but how do you do it? Has anyone ever told you? Well, guess what? Katherine's going to do that. But we're going to take it way back. So where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm originally from New York City, Midtown Manhattan.
Okay, nice. That's pretty much Alabama where I'm from. Everyone get those confused. So, how did your childhood kind of put you on the path where you are today?
I grew up with a dysfunctional family, as many people did. I grew up with an alcoholic family. I was really bullied in school, badly because I was different. And in the eighth grade, because of all of it, my family was going through a divorce. I tried to commit suicide. So I turned into one of those angry kids. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kids draped in black. They have one friend. I mean, we've all seen these kids. I was one of those kids. And I kind of just floated through life, to be honest with you. I got a job. I was, quite successful, but I still couldn't lose the anger, and I still couldn't get away from my story. I was a survivor. I've survived all these horrible things. Look at me. I survived. I wore it like a badge of honor. And then my mother died of breast cancer. And even my mother couldn't get a gin and tonic in Lenox Hill Hospital. So about 3 years before she died, she broke her hip. And, you just can't get gin in a hospital. So she dried out, and we became really, really close. We became best friends. And then 3 years later, she died. And I went into this mourning, and I realized if I didn't change everything about my life, I would probably die like her. So I quit drinking. I've been sober now for 34 years, I believe, something like that.
Awesome. Yeah.
I changed my eating habits, and I started to forgive people, and my world opened up. I met my husband a year later. We've been married 33 years, but my world opened up. And the reason it opened up is because I wasn't as angry anymore, and I was seeing the opportunities, and I was getting out of my comfort zone. So you fast forward about 15, 20 years, and now I'm teaching concierge workshops, which is teaching people customer service, how to be warm, friendly, and approachable. I can't teach you, Joe, how to be warm, friendly, and approachable if you're angry inside, because your anger is going to bleed through your body language, whether you want it to or not. And in the late 1990s, you didn't bring a soft topic to business workshops. It just wasn't done. Well, unless you're me, because I thought the only way I can get people to lose their anger is to teach them about forgiveness. So I did. And that's how it all started. And in 2020, some friends and I finally figured out the secret sauce to forgiveness. And that's when I wrote the book.
Wow. That's a heck of a story right there. You know that you're most qualified to help the person you used to be. That's what I always
That's
tell
right.
people. Man, you can
That's
get
right.
the fact that you're not just a person that's had this happy-go-lucky life your whole time. I mean, it worked for you. You saw how the other end works, and now you're helping other people do the same thing. So that's amazing right there. So let me, how do you personally define forgiveness?
Well, pretty much, here's the bottom line. Everybody's going to tell you that you have to forgive. Your parents tell you, your teachers tell you, your pastor tells you. Everybody on the planet's going to teach you to say you have to forgive. Okay, I have a problem with that. Um, how? How? How do I forgive? And what if I don't want to? Every one of your listeners, including you, are now thinking of their number 10 unforgivable dumpster fire person. Everybody does it. And on a 10 scale, with 10 being horrible and 1 being super easy, everybody listening to me is thinking of their number 10. It is a serious dumpster fire. And that's fair. And I wouldn't want to forgive those people either. What they did wasn't right. So I'm looking at you and saying, okay, you don't have to forgive your number 10 people. You don't, because there's other things you can forgive before you even get to those horrible people. You can forgive your number ones. You can forgive the kid in school who stole your sandwich. You can forgive the person in the grocery store yesterday who cut you off with his shopping cart in aisle 5. You can forgive these people. Start with those people.
Oh, that's great advice. Because, if you think about people like Dave Ramsey or people like that do reconciliation, you start with the small things first. Don't try to pay off the 200,000 student loan. Pay off something small.
No.
Start with
And you
something that looks doable, right?
and you can forgive people, places, and things. Yeah, I said places and things, but think about it. If I got bullied in school and I drive by that old school every day, I'm going to look at that building and I'm going to have memories attached to it. So why not forgive the building? If you can't forgive the person, then forgive the building, the desk, the chair, the floor. Pick out other parts of the memory and forgive those things, and eventually you might be able to get to it. And a few things, just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean you were right. I'm not giving you a free pass. You're still wrong, and I'm probably never going to forget what you did to me, but I'm not going to have an emotional attached to it anymore. I'm going to be neutral. When I think about you, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be sad. I'm just going to be neutral. I'm not going to care. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that neutrality. Forgiveness to me means I'm getting you out of my head. You're in my head. I'm thinking about you all the time. It's all I can think about. It's all I can talk about. My circle of friends has probably gone down because they don't want to be around somebody who's angry and sarcastic and nasty all the time. They don't. Why would they? So your circle is going to get a little bit thin. That's what I'm talking about. You want them out of your mind. And here's the kicker. The person you're mad at isn't thinking about you at all.
That's
Isn't
the
that
worst part,
irritating?
right? Isn't that
Isn't
the
that
worst?
awful? I mean, if I'm this miserable, you should be that
Right.
miserable.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're not thinking about you at all. But you're living it and breathing it and every day. And what forgiveness does is it's very personal. Forgiveness is very selfish. You do it for you. You do it to get that person out of your head. They're living in your head rent free. It's time to evict them. Get them out.
That's it. I got to admit, when you were talking, a geometry book popped in my head from 1993. I still
Got to
haven't forgiven
forgive the book.
geometry, man. I don't know. I'm working on that. You've already got me working on that one, so I'm gonna work on geometry. So
My friend, a really close friend of mine, wrote her list because I'm going to have everybody write a list of the people you think you need to forgive, and I want you to rate them from 1 to 10. And on her list was a little red wagon, just popped. I mean, and I want you to just randomly put things in, like your math book, write it down on your paper. And I said, "What happened with the little red wagon?" She said, "I don't remember. It was 50 years ago." But some point in her childhood, she was mad at the dumb thing and needed to forgive it. This is what I'm talking about. And the more you chip away at this anger, the more that you do this, the better you're going to feel. Let me give you a visual. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, I'm about to hold an opaque coffee cup in front of my face. Okay. This coffee cup I can hold off to the side for now. It's easy and it's filled with anger. Look at my body language. You and I can have a conversation. We can go out and have a meal. I can do all sorts of things. I can go to the grocery store. I can have some fun. It's easy. I can manage this. Somebody hurt me. I can deal with it because I'm putting it in the back of my mind and I can do this. But the longer I hold on to this glass, the more it's going to hurt. And eventually there's nothing I'm going to be able to do. And I'm going to have to use my other arm to hold up the anger. Now look at my body language. Now I can't, now I'm kind of like constricted now because both hands are holding onto the cup. If I hold on it too long, now look at my body language. I can't see you. I can't see opportunities. I can't see anything. I can't see that new job that's about to be offered to me because I'm not paying attention. I can't see that fitness program because I'm too focused on my anger and I'm not paying attention. So forgiveness is going to allow you to move the anger out of your body so you can pay attention. So what will happen? You might lose some weight. There you go. That's a reason to buy my book. You might lose some weight. You might get some money. Ooh, there's a good one. Why? Because you're going to be paying attention and you're going to see opportunities that you didn't see before.
oh man, that's a great illustration right there. So if you didn't get to watch the video, just picture. She put the mental image in your head. So you can just picture. I know if you have anger in your life right now, you know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah.
All the missed opportunities. That's the biggest cost right there, right? It's all the missed opportunities and relationships that could have happened without all this anger. So you've been working with people on forgiveness for a while. Do you have like a profound example of forgiveness and how it worked in someone's life?
Um, I actually do. Forgiveness. I was working with a law enforcement officer who works up in Washington, D.C., and I was doing private sessions with him. And because some people, they read the book and then they think, well, this is too big for me, so I'll do a private session with them and I'll verbally lead them through it. And after 3 sessions, he was sleeping through the night. He was starting to date again. I mean, the transformation was undeniable. And he's a law enforcement officer, so you can imagine forgiving himself and forgiving, people that he had to arrest. I mean, this was a big problem for him. Completely opened him up. Completely opened him up.
Wow. That's
I mean,
amazing.
anger is toxic. So let me bring in a little science. I have a whole chapter on science in the book for you naysayers out there. But let's give it if you Google, and I apologize ahead of time, I can't pronounce this guy's name to save my soul. It is a Japanese researcher named Matsumoto, I believe, something like that. And he studied water. If you Google just that, I promise you the pictures will come up. And what he did, I'm going to dumb this down, is he studied water. In one container of water, he said these beautiful words to it. He spoke love to it. He put it in the sun. He treated it well. And the other container, he said nasty things. And I mean nasty. He berated it. He kept it in the dark. He did everything he could that was horrible. Then he put it under a microscope. The water he was nasty to had, under a microscope, had these horrible black and brown twisted formations. They're really ugly. You can see the pictures right online. It's fascinating. The water that he spoke love to were these beautiful crystal snowflake kind of formations. They were absolutely gorgeous. Here's the kicker. Your body is 98% water. So when you're saying bad things, you're in a bad memory. You're living in anger. This is why anger is toxic. What do you think the water inside your body is turning into?
Wow. Science, people. You naysayer.
Science.
Go Google that. Google it right now. You can pause this, whatever you're doing. If you're listening to what, go pause and go look it up and come back.
Pictures are really interesting.
And then you can apologize, Kathy, for doubting her when you come back. Okay. And we forgive you, right, Kathy? We forgive you.
That's right. We forgive you.
That's right. So, has there been any surprising or kind of insightful feedback you've gotten from people who've read your books?
One person said their shoulders felt lighter. And they couldn't believe it. And they said, I can't explain it. It's weird. It doesn't even sound sane, but my shoulders feel physically lighter. One person said, my coffee tastes better. I said, okay, that's great. See, you're going to change. Your chemistry is going to change. Why is the diet all of a sudden going to work? Because you're not angry anymore. And you're paying attention to what people are saying to you and what Joe is saying to you. You're finally starting to pay attention, say, that was smart. Why didn't you pay attention? Because you were inside your head. You were thinking of these people. You were going on Facebook, and we all do this. Don't lie. Everybody does this. You see your bully on Facebook, and you see they got arrested or a broken leg or something, and don't you just look at them and say, karma. Come on, we all do it. We all just kind of say, well, they kind of deserved that. When you practice forgiveness using my step-by-step system, you're going to go on Facebook, see that bully, and you're not going to care. That's freedom right there. You won't care. Now, somebody asked me recently, a podcaster asked me recently, what about forgetting? I'm not telling you to forget. You can't forget. It's impossible to forget. What I'm telling you is that I can go back to my childhood and I can remember memories and they don't bother me anymore. I can go back to that childhood and I can look at the love that was there as opposed to all the hate and the anger. I can dredge it up and remember it if you want me to, but the longer I've gone is the more I just don't remember it anymore. I just don't. I don't remember it. Now, the
That's like a
hardest
superpower
person to
right there.
forgive is yourself. And I want you to start with the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Why? Because the 8s, 9s, and 10s people, they're really, really hard. And by the time you get to the 8, 9s, and 10s, I think you'll get the hang of it. I only want you to do like 10 or 11 a night before you go to bed, because the anger has to come out of your body. Most people get tired. They'll forgive their 10 people and they'll just inexplicably get tired, or they'll get thirsty, or politely said, they'll be in the bathroom for a while. Let's just politely say that. Why? Think of the 98% water part. All those cells have to come out somehow. Your body heals itself when it's sleeping. So most of the healing will be done while you're sleeping, which is beautiful. See, I'm an overachiever, and I came up with this method. I wrote down like 50, 60 people. And I looked at the list. I said, I can do this. I can blast through the whole list in one sitting. So I did. And I spent the next 3 days in bed, which what everybody thought was a stomach flu, including me. As it turns out, it wasn't the stomach flu. It was just those cells in the body trying to come out. Please don't make yourself sick. Only do like 10 or 12 people at a time. Now, if you are at that number 10 or you're trying to forgive yourself, here are some tips. Pick away at it. It's like a brick wall. And everybody says you need to jackhammer your way through the wall. You need to get through the wall. I disagree. I think you should pick out a few bricks, walk around the dumb thing, keep going, and circle back later. So if you can't forgive the 8s, 9s, and 10s, okay, that's fair. Let's pick a very horrible example. Let's say you were raped in college in your dorm room. Okay, so you can't forgive the rapist, which is fair. There are a few people on the planet that can, but not many. But you can forgive other things within that memory. You can forgive the bed, the table, the chair, the people that walked by the room that didn't see you. You can forgive all of those people. And by doing that, you're peeling back the layers of the onion. And eventually, with some mental gymnastics, you might be able to forgive the actual memory itself. But this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is hard work, and it's going to take you some time.
Wow. I never heard it taught that way. Forgiveness taught. This is something new. I know y'all, if you're listening right now, you've probably never heard it either. So you know what? It's time to give it a try, right? You've tried everything else. You still haven't forgiven. It's time to start here. Start with those little ones, right? So it's been awesome advice that I've never personally heard before. So I thank you for what you're doing out there. I appreciate you bringing that information to light. You're going to help so many people. Do you have kind of any final words on forgiveness or anything that might help be able to help somebody?
Somebody out there needs to hear it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. If you were raised like I was, it wasn't your fault. You were told by a narcissist that it is your fault, and they probably all twisted it, but it wasn't your fault. And the beauty of being away from that situation is today is a brand new day, and every day is a chance to start fresh. You got another 24 hours to completely change your life. Now, if somebody has a good memory about this person who you have a bad memory about, and they're saying, oh, you're crazy, why would you think that? With all due respect, I don't care about that person. I only care about you. And your memory is the one that matters to me. You're the one that matters to me. So forget everybody else. As I said, this is personal. You do it for you. And if you're living with people who you would rate an 8, 9, or 10, well, first of all, I think Joe would agree with me. I really would love you to move out, first of all. See if you can find another place to live. If you can't, here's a little entertainment for you. You're going to get happier, your start to get more solid, and that's probably going to make them irritated, which is mildly entertaining if you think about it, because they're going to get triggered because they want that angry person back, but you're not going to come back.
Wow.
Stay the course, man. You guys can do this.
That's it. So you guys get your lists out. Don't do more than 10. Okay. Unless you enjoy being sick. Maybe you do. I don't know you that well, but get out there, do the 10, start with the smaller ones and keep building up from there. But don't give up, right? To stay, like you said, stay the course. So I know people listen. How do they get a copy of this book?
Well, there are worksheets in the back of the book. And for those of you who don't read, I do have an audiobook available on my website, and my website is katharinegiovanni.com. And thanks to my mother, Catherine is spelled a little bit odd. Thanks, Mom. Katharine Giovanni.com. Amazon has the audiobook, the ebook, the paperback, and everything you need.
Okay, great. I'll link all that in the show notes in case you don't spell that well. I'm with you. And my mom would feel with you. Her name is Karen, but it's Cairenn, the Irish spelling of Karen. So a little bit different.
I feel for her. I feel her pain.
Yeah. But don't worry, she's forgiven her mom for it.
Yeah, I have to.
Well, Kat, this was awesome. I really appreciate, like I said, you out there just sharing the stuff that people need to hear that they've never heard before. I guarantee most people have not heard that. So, hey, you guys out there, go pick up a copy of that book or the audiobook. No judgment if you don't like to read. Just listen to it. You still got to write your names down. But hey, thank you so much, Kat. Keep doing that great work out there. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
Absolutely. And if you're listening right now, please share this episode. People need to hear this message. More people need this message in their life, how Katharine can help them, whether they buy a book or not. She's already helping people out in the world. She's going to touch lives that she may never meet. So that's awesome. That's what Relentless Positivity is all about. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. We'll see you guys next week on the Relentless Positivity Podcast.